12 singers, every single one of them gone. And the thing that keeps coming back when you dig into these cases is the timing.
Shot me, but your punks didn't finish. Now you're about to feel the wrath of a menace. Nigga, we hit 'em up.
The questions nobody could fully answer. The investigations that quietly closed. The secrets that died with them in a bathtub, in a Paris apartment, in an elevator, on a Las Vegas street. You already know some of these names, but you don't know what they knew. Stay with me. Number 12, Janis Joplin. Here's something most people walk right past. Janis Joplin didn't just die the night of October 4th, 1970. She died the day she was supposed to record her vocals for a song called Buried Alive in the Blues.
He said, honey.
Think about that for a second. She was in the middle of finishing Pearl, the album that would become the biggest selling record of her career.
I just went off and left that woman in that great big...
The whole band came in. The track was ready. The microphone was open, and Janis never showed up. You've heard me and Bobby McGee. You know that voice, the one that sounds like it's been scraped raw by something real.
Welcome back home. Yeah.
By 1970, she had gotten clean, or close to it. She was engaged. She was finishing what was supposed to be her statement album. Friends described her as optimistic, focused. And then a particular batch of heroin makes its way through Los Angeles. Investigators would later note it was unusually potent, more overdoses than normal connected to that supply.
Always be right.
Janis got a hold of it. She shot up in her room at the Landmark Hotel on Franklin Avenue. And when her road manager couldn't reach her, they went in, found her on the floor, blood on her lips. No one had seen her use in weeks.
And I said, baby, don't you realize?
The first person on the scene initially said he found no drugs, no paraphernalia. The police later noted fresh needle marks. 16 days earlier, Jimi Hendrix had died at 27. Now Janis, 27, was gone.
Let me finally don't realize, so you can put your head.
If you've ever had someone in your life who was finally getting it together, finally turning the corner, and then you got that call, you know what that specific grief feels like. It's not just loss. It's the version of them you were just starting to see, and that version never gets to exist. On Pearl, one track has no vocals, an instrumental, named Buried Alive in the Blues. That's where she was supposed to sing. Number 11, Brian Jones. Before Mick Jagger, before Keith Richards became a legend, before any of it, there was Brian Jones. He named the Rolling Stones. He put the band together. He recruited the members. He set the vision. And then slowly they took it from him. By 1969, Jagger and Richards had locked up the songwriting. Brian's contributions were being cut. His health was eroding. After years of drug charges and legal battles that the rest of the band largely dodged, he was quietly voted out of the group he built. In June of 1969, he bought a farmhouse in East Sussex, the same one that had once belonged to A.A. Milne, the man who wrote Winnie the Pooh, and he hired a builder named Frank Thorogood to renovate it. Here's where it gets complicated. Thorogood and his crew moved in. They were barely working. They were drinking Brian's liquor, using his pool, freeloading off a man whose grip on reality was already fragile. The day Brian died, July 2nd, 1969, he had told Thorogood he was done. No more work, get out. And there was a financial dispute on top of it. That night, Brian was found at the bottom of his swimming pool. Thorogood was one of the last people to see him alive. The official verdict, death by misadventure, drowning while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. But in 1993, 24 years later, Frank Thorogood was on his own deathbed, and he reportedly said to a former Rolling Stones road manager, "It was me that did Brian. I just finally snapped." The road manager held that. Other investigators ran with it. 2 books were written. A film was made, but by then, every witness was dead. Tom Keylock, the road manager who allegedly heard that confession, died on July 2nd, 2009. 40 years to the day after Brian Jones. You decide what to make of that.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of 1 coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 10, Tupac Shakur. September 7, 1996, Las Vegas. Tupac Shakur is sitting in the passenger seat of a black BMW, rolling away from a Mike Tyson fight with Suge Knight at the wheel. A white Cadillac pulls up. Someone fires 14 shots through the window. Tupac takes 4 of them. 6 days later, September 13th, he dies. He's 25 years old. And then something strange happens. Not just the silence from Suge Knight, who showed up to police questioning 3 days after the shooting with 3 lawyers and answered almost nothing. Not just the fact that the white Cadillac disappeared into Las Vegas and was never recovered. Something else. A young man named Yafil Fula, one of Tupac's entourage, riding in the car directly behind him when the shots were fired, told investigators he had seen the shooter. He was the one witness who said he could identify the gunman. 6 weeks later, Yafo Fula was shot dead in a New Jersey apartment building. The detective leading the homicide division at the time later said that to this day, not one witness who was present that night ever meaningfully cooperated. Suge Knight, who was in the car, who looked the shooter in the eye, stayed quiet. The case stayed cold for nearly 30 years. In 2023, a man named Dwayne Kef D. Davis was finally charged. Be down with bad boy, then fuck you too. Chino XL, fuck you too. He'd reportedly confessed to investigators over a decade earlier. Nobody moved on it. Nobody knows exactly why it took until 2023. If you were listening to All Eyes on Me in a car with the windows down in the summer of '96, you remember where you were when you heard he was gone. Some of y'all just got quiet for a second reading that. I hear you. The only witness who could see the shooter didn't make it to the trial. Number 9, Sam Cooke. December 11th, 1964, 3 in the morning. Sam Cooke, the greatest pure soul voice in American history, a man with 28 top 40 hits in his own record label, is found shot dead in the office of the Hacienda Motel in South Central Los Angeles. He's 33. He's wearing one shoe and a sports jacket and nothing else. The official story, the motel manager shot him in self-defense. Case closes. Justifiable homicide. But here's what doesn't fit. Etta James saw Sam Cooke's body before the burial. She said his injuries looked less like a gunshot wound and more like a severe beating. His credit cards were missing. The coroner's inquest lasted 5 days and barely allowed his lawyer one question. The case was closed in under a week. And here's what was happening around Sam Cooke in 1964 that nobody talks about. He was building something the industry had never seen a black artist build. His own publishing company, his own label, full ownership of his masters. He was close friends with Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. He had written A Change Is Gonna Come, not just a song, but a direct reckoning with American racism at the height of the civil rights movement's most violent summer. 6 murders, 29 shootings, 50 bombings in 14 weeks. The FBI had Sam Cooke under surveillance. Theories have circulated for 60 years that he was set up, that his manager, Alan Klein, whose financial dealings he was beginning to question, had something to do with it. That forces with far more power than a motel manager wanted that voice silenced. 11 days after Sam Cooke was shot dead in that motel office, A Change Is Gonna Come was released. He never got to hear what it became, and whether that timing means anything, I'll let you decide. Number 8, the Notorious B.I.G.
He got to creep with, sleep with, keep the ep a secret. Why not? Why blow up?
6 months after Tupac. Same script, different city. March 9, 1997, Los Angeles.
Up in your waist, please don't shoot up the place. Why? 'Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be.
Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, is leaving a music industry party at the Peterson Automotive Museum.
Who's a true player? I love it when you call me Big Papa. To the honeys getting.
He's sitting in an SUV on Wilshire Boulevard. A black Chevy Impala pulls up alongside. Someone in the window opens fire.
Is that all right with you? Yeah. Keep banging.
Biggie is hit 4 times. He's pronounced dead at the hospital. He's 24 years old. Nobody has ever been charged. The case is officially unsolved.
Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the needy. No need to be greedy, I got mad.
But here's what a detective named Russell Poole found when he started digging. A black Chevy Impala. Forensic investigators traced the murder weapon to ammunition so rare it was available through only 2 American distributors.
Get the telly, we just go to the crib and watch a movie in the jacuzzi, smoke L's while you do.
And while running down leads, Poole discovered that a rogue lapsed officer named David Mack, who worked off-duty security for Death Row Records, had his home raided following an unrelated bank robbery.
If you's a true player, I love it when you call me Big Papa. To the honeys.
Inside that house, a photo of Mack dressed in all red, a Tupac poster on the wall, and in his garage, a black Chevy Impala.
My spot, 'cause we both got hot. Now check it. I got more Mac than Craig and in the bed.
Mack was never charged in Biggie's murder. He denied any involvement. But Poole was eventually pulled off the investigation by his own department.
Numbers to dial. You gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna call my crew. You gonna call your crew. We can run.
He filed a lawsuit against the lab, alleging they had covered up evidence. A federal judge later noted that evidence had indeed been withheld. Russell Poole died of a heart attack in 2019 while being interviewed by LA County Sheriff's detectives. They were finally re-examining the Biggie Smalls case.
Throw your hands in the air.
And I don't know what to do with that. I genuinely don't. If you've ever tried to explain to someone who wasn't there what these 2 deaths meant to people, you know what that silence felt like.
Truck up front and roll up the next blunt so we can steam on the way to the telly. Go fill my.
Number 7, Jimi Hendrix. September 18th, 1970, London. A 27-year-old guitarist who had essentially reinvented what the electric guitar was capable of is found dead in a flat belonging to his girlfriend. The coroner recorded an open verdict. Not a clear overdose, not clearly an accident, open. What the hospital doctor said is the part that stays with you, doctor. John Bannister, on duty when Hendrix was brought in, said red wine was coming from his nose and mouth in quantities that suggested asphyxiation.
I said, where you going with that gun in your hand?
Not vomiting, drowning. And Hendrix's friends were firm about one thing: he didn't drink red wine. Hendrix's manager was a man named Michael Jeffrey. By September 1970, Hendrix was planning to leave him. His management contract was due to expire in December. Jeffrey had allegedly taken out a $2 million life insurance policy on the guitarist. Worth more dead than alive, that's the phrase.
Way down, listen, no way.
In 2009, a former roadie named James Tappy Wright published a book claiming that in 1971, a year after Hendrix's death, a drunk Michael Jeffrey confessed to him directly. The confession, as Wright told it, "I had to do it. Jimmy was worth much more to me dead than alive. That son of a bitch was going to leave me." Two years after that alleged confession, Michael Jeffrey died. His plane collided with another aircraft over Nantes, France. No survivors. Wright's account has been disputed. Jeffrey's former U.S. partner denied it, but the coroner never closed the verdict. Nobody ever fully answered how a man who didn't drink red wine drowned in it. Some things don't have clean endings, and this is one of them. Number 6, Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison went to Paris to disappear. That's the honest version. By early 1971, the frontman of The Doors was burned out, bloated from drinking, facing a 6-month jail sentence back in the States for alleged indecent exposure on stage in Miami. He left America in March of 1971 and moved into an apartment in Le Marais with his girlfriend, Pamela Corson. He was 27. He was going to get clean. He was going to write poetry. He was going to come back different. On the morning of July 3rd, 1971, Pamela Corson found him in the bathtub. He was dead. She said he had been having severe coughing fits the night before, coughing up blood. And eventually asked her to run him a bath while he tried to settle his breathing. Here's the thing that never gets resolved. No autopsy was performed. French law didn't require one. The cause of death was listed as heart failure. When the Doors manager, Bill Siddons, arrived in Paris a day later to handle arrangements, Jim Morrison was already sealed inside a coffin. Nobody examined the body before burial. Nobody performed any forensic investigation. The only witness to his final hours was his girlfriend, who herself died of a heroin overdose in Los Angeles 3 years later in 1974. One theory that circulated, pushed by a British journalist in the 1980s, suggested Morrison's death was orchestrated by the CIA to remove a powerful countercultural voice. That's where it gets speculative. But what's not speculative is this: there is no medical record of what killed Jim Morrison. There's a certificate, and there's a sealed coffin. Some of y'all have visited his grave at Père Lachaise. You know how quiet it gets there, even with all those people around. Like something's being held back. Without an autopsy, without a body, without a toxicology report, we are taking everyone's word for what happened in that apartment. Number 5 next. And this case has a name that keeps coming up over and over again, and the name belongs to someone who should have been protecting him. Number 5, Kurt Cobain, April 8, 1994. An electrician named Gary Smith arrives at a Seattle home to install a security system. He climbs to a room above the garage, looks through the window, and sees what he initially thinks is a mannequin. When he notices the blood, he calls the police. Kurt Cobain had been missing for 6 days. The official ruling came quickly: suicide, self-inflicted gunshot wound. And here's what makes it complicated. Cobain had attempted to escape a rehab center days earlier. He had documented struggles with heroin and depression. The suicide ruling wasn't irrational. But private investigator Tom Grant, hired by Courtney Love herself to find Cobain after he left the treatment center, started asking questions that nobody wanted to answer. The toxicology report showed Cobain had 3 times a lethal dose of heroin in his system at the time of death. The question Grant couldn't let go of: how do you inject yourself with 3 times a lethal dose of heroin and then have the motor control and consciousness to pick up a shotgun? The shotgun wasn't checked for fingerprints until a full month after the body was discovered. When it was checked, no legible prints, none. The note had sections written in different handwriting and different pen pressure. And Courtney Love's own entertainment attorney, a woman named Rosemary Carroll, who was a close friend to both of them, reportedly told Grant she was totally suspicious and believed Cobain may have been killed. Cobain's lawyer had reportedly been called weeks before the death by Cobain himself to remove Love from his will. The case has never been reopened. It remains officially a suicide. And whether you believe that or not, and I know you probably already have an opinion, the specifics of that forensic report don't fully add up.
It's hard to find a well, whatever next.
Number 4, Michael Jackson. June 25, 2009, a rented mansion in the Holmby Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles. Michael Jackson, 50 years old, 3 weeks from the start of a 50-show comeback tour, is found unresponsive in his bedroom by his personal physician doctor. Conrad Murray. Murray had been administering propofol, a powerful surgical anesthetic, as a sleep aid. Not in a hospital, in a bedroom, without monitoring equipment. Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. He served 2 of his 4-year sentence, but the part that never quite left is this. Murray had been hired by AEG Live, the production company promoting Jackson's This Is It comeback. AEG was paying him $150,000 a month. An internal email from an AEG executive was later produced in court. It read, "We want to remind him that it is AEG, not MJ, who is paying his salary." Jackson's family sued AEG for wrongful death, arguing the company had created a conflict of interest. That Murray's financial survival depended on keeping AEG happy, not on keeping Michael Jackson alive. AEG was cleared by a jury. In the weeks before his death, Jackson had reportedly grown increasingly frightened. He was losing weight, missing rehearsals. Witnesses described him as drugged and disoriented. His own mother testified that he was asking for his father in those final days. Michael Jackson spent 30 years fighting the music industry for the rights to his own voice, his own image, his own catalog. He won that fight. He bought the Beatles catalog. He owned his masters. He was about to perform 50 nights to a sold-out O2 arena, and then he was gone. And the rights to his estate became worth hundreds of millions of dollars overnight. I'm not saying what that means, but I know you're thinking it. Number 3, Prince. Prince didn't go to war with the music industry quietly. He went with his face. In the 1990s, when Warner Brothers refused to let him release music at the pace he needed to and owned his masters in the process, he wrote the word slave on his face.
Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just.
He changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol. He told every journalist who would listen that the record companies were built on a system that treated artists as product. He got his freedom eventually.
My darling, can you picture this dream if you can?
He fought his way out of the contract, got his catalog back, built Paisley Park into a creative empire, and spent his final decade as the most self-sufficient major artist in the industry.
Even doves have pride. Just leave me standing.
And then, on April 21st, 2016, an employee at Paisley Park couldn't reach him. They entered the building and found him in an elevator. He was 57 years old. The autopsy revealed an amount of fentanyl in his system so far above lethal levels that investigators were stunned. Prince had no prescription for fentanyl. What he thought he was taking, what investigators believe he was given, were counterfeit Vicodin pills loaded with fentanyl. They found 49 of them in a bottle at the compound. 6 days before he died, Prince had collapsed from an overdose, the first time. He was treated at a hospital in Illinois and released. Nobody at that hospital asked the right questions. Nobody traced the pills. Nobody issued a warning. After a 2-year investigation, Minnesota prosecutors announced no criminal charges would be filed. There is no reliable evidence showing how Prince obtained the counterfeit Vicodin, the prosecutor said.
Why do we scream at each other?
Nobody was ever charged. Nobody knows who gave him those pills. And the man who had spent 30 years fighting to own his own music died without a will, leaving a $156 million estate and a vault of unreleased recordings for the very industry he'd battled to pick apart.
Alone in a world so cold.
Number 2, Whitney Houston. February 11, 2012, the night before the Grammy Awards. The Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, the same hotel hosting Clive Davis's legendary pre-Grammy party. Whitney Houston, 48 years old, former voice of a generation, was getting ready. Her assistant left her alone to take a bath and ran errands. When she returned, the room was locked from the inside. She got the bodyguard. They found Whitney face down in the bathtub, submerged, unresponsive. The official cause of death, accidental drowning, with atherosclerotic heart disease and cocaine use as contributing factors. The cocaine, investigators said, was used in the period immediately before she slipped under the water. Here's what the coroner's report revealed that barely anyone talked about. When the coroner's investigator arrived, a number of Whitney's prescription medication bottles had already been removed from the room and placed on a table before the investigator arrived. Her California driver's license had been removed from her wallet. The report notes both of these things matter-of-factly, as if they're unremarkable. Who moved those bottles? The report doesn't say. The investigation found no evidence of foul play. The pills that remained were prescribed by at least 4 different doctors. 4, not 1. Four physicians simultaneously prescribing medications to the same person. In the years leading up to her death, Whitney Houston had become visibly fragile. The industry she'd given everything to had watched that happen in real time, in public, on television. And if you've ever loved someone whose talent outran the system that was supposed to protect them, and then watched that system shrug when they were gone, you know that grief doesn't go away. It just finds a different room to live in. Number 1, John Lennon.
Above us only sky.
December 8, 1980, New York City. Outside the Dakota building on the Upper West Side, John Lennon and Yoko Ono are returning home from a recording session.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
A man named Mark David Chapman calls out Mr. Lennon. He fires 4 shots. John Lennon is pronounced dead at Roosevelt Hospital at 11:15 that night. He's 40 years old. We know who pulled the trigger. That part isn't a mystery. But here's what the FBI knew and what they'd been quietly tracking for nearly a decade before that night. John Lennon had been under active government surveillance since the early 1970s. The Nixon administration had directly attempted to have him deported from the United States because of his anti-war activism and his ability to mobilize young people.
I wonder if we can.
FBI memos documented, in clinical language, the fear that Lennon could be capable of influencing elections, disrupting national order, and galvanizing the anti-war left at a critical moment. The surveillance never fully ended.
Imagine all the people.
What investigators and journalists uncovered in the years after the assassination is this. Chapman behaved strangely throughout the entire sequence of events. He spent the day outside the Dakota.
Imagine no possessions.
He had Lennon sign the Double Fantasy album that morning. That photograph exists. Then waited 9 hours and came back. After the shooting, he sat down, opened Catcher in the Rye, and waited calmly for the police. The NEP detective who interrogated him said, on the record, he looked as if he could have been programmed. Attorney Fenton Bresler spent years building a case that Chapman had been manipulated through psychological conditioning, a government sleeper, activated. Author Phil Strongman reached the same conclusion independently. Both pointed to gaps in Chapman's timeline, his documented psychological treatment at a facility in Hawaii connected to CIA-adjacent programs.
No immigration, too.
And the FBI's documented terror of what Lennon represented. Is that provable? No. Is it officially true? No. But the FBI surveillance files on John Lennon are real. The deportation attempt is documented. The fear of his voice, in the actual words of government officials, is in the public record. And John Lennon, in December 1980, had just released Double Fantasy. He was talking about peace again, about politics, about what the world could be. Then he was gone. If there's someone in your life who introduced you to the Beatles, to Imagine, to what that music meant, and you haven't told them lately what that means to you, maybe that's worth something tonight.